Jesus Christ, look at that.
There was no time to escape. There was no warning before a wall of water came crashing down on millions of futures.
Get in!
A deadly cascade of cars, trees, houses, and people.
All of a sudden, people started screaming, and then water just came towards us on the beach, and everyone started to run, and then you couldn't run fast enough, and just got caught that way. It was pretty intense.
A popular destination for tourists, Anna Barnett was on holiday with her partner Brett on the 26th of December 2004, when at 8 o'clock, a beautiful morning descended into carnage.
We were kind of tossed into little bungalows and then grabbed hold of it while the water receded. And then everyone was really concerned that there was talk of another wave, so we all kind of went for higher ground. There was one guy who I think he'd broken a hip, so he was in a lot of pain. I was quite badly scraped up and got an eye infection. I mean, it's so minor in the scheme of things, but we ended up getting evacuated to a hospital in Bangkok where there were lots of Australians and New Zealanders who'd been caught up in things and were having treatment up there.
The Boxing Day tidal wave was powered by an undersea earthquake, which released a surge of energy equivalent to 23,000 Hiroshima-type atomic bombs. The tsunami moved at the speed of a jet plane and caused suffering across 14 countries, including Indonesia, Sri Lanka, India and Thailand.
As the water gushed through, it filled the room with water and I was almost drowned. And I just stood there and prayed. And then, fortunately, the water was so forceful, it blew the other window out. And, of course, then the water went down and saved my life.
Those who were swept out to sea fought for survival. People left clinging desperately to what they could, clamouring to save themselves and what they held most dear. The worst natural disaster of the 21st century, the tsunami claimed the lives of 250,000 people in a single day.
Every Boxing Day, do you think about this event?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And particularly those people who lost their lives and the families of those people, because I'd seen the devastation that it brought to them. The trauma and the tragedy on all of their faces.
Former Police Commissioner Mike Bush was based in Bangkok as New Zealand's police liaison officer at the time. His job saw him thrust into the disaster victim identification process, counting more than 5,000 bodies and helping distressed families.
When we opened the doors and allowed people in, virtually thousands of traumatised family members descended on a small group of us. And you can imagine the trauma. They'd lost their kids, they'd lost their parents. They were beside themselves with grief. And we had to cope with all of those people.
7 New Zealanders were among those killed, and Kiwis would go on to raise around $26 million in donations, matched dollar for dollar by our government.
It doesn't feel that this was 20 years ago. It was such a significant thing globally that it's still very fresh, I think, in everyone's memories. It was such a tragic event.
In the 20 years that have passed, buildings have been repaired and rebuilt, and lessons have been learned.
Attention, all clear.
With new tsunami warning systems in place across the region. But no one has forgotten the force of the ocean or the agonising grief it unleashed that day.